Steam, you've seen Shimoneta.
Oh, Shimoneta is so good.
Such a good anime.
It's such a good anime and such a fun way to tell such a serious story. Where it's like, what actually happens if your censorship laws get out of control? And, and the fact that it does that using like the perverted side of things as opposed to like the gore side of anything like that, right?
Yeah.
But it's such a like that's a serious topic to like discuss, is like, because in certain areas some censorship makes sense. Like,
you mean like in the US or like different places globally?
I mean different places, like with having children's programming versus adult programming. It makes sense to have some amount of censorship when people are trying to specifically incite violence or something like that. Yeah, they do and they don't. Yeah, they do and they don't.
I don't know. I don't remember that for some reason.
It
I
is
blacked
such
it
an
out.
interesting. Yeah, because it's like at some point you're just starting the anime, so I'm more mature now. Yeah, it is a very like what can you say? How can you say it? And obviously in America we have the First Amendment, so basically anything that doesn't incite violence or cause harm, like cause specific harm to specific people, is okay. So like you can say all sorts of things and it's okay. And then you have other countries where they use more censorship. Like there is a censorship bureau in Japan that sort of sets aside what is allowed to be said and what's not to be said.
Or like on primetime television, you can't swear and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
either.
and with those, I mean, the argument there would be that it is the network that is making the decision.
Oh,
so
I see.
CBS, NBC,
government thing.
Exactly. The government doesn't tell you what yes or no, whereas like with a censorship bureau in Japan, they do dictate the yes or no's.
Yeah, and that's almost kind of against America in a way.
Oh, totally.
Because it's just like like you said, freedom of speech, right? Basically.
Yeah. No, it's just a fun, interesting look at like what that can lead to if you start censoring this and you start censoring that.
Yeah, people
then
start
now
only
you start
wearing
censoring. You start censoring people to the point where what everybody's saying, and that almost kind of comes down to like some of these quarantine apps where they're like, who have you been near that has had the COVID, and now suddenly you're saying, oh, okay, yeah, go ahead and track me all the time. And it's like,
but your privacy.
Yeah, is that something you're willing to do to stay safe from this thing?
How did you get to this topic?
I don't know. We were talking about Shimoneta.
Oh.
You can watch the replay and see exactly how my descent went into that.
But yeah, I am kind of interested to see about this quarantine app. Or it's not whatever it's going to be called. I'm not even sure.
The COVID Tracker.
COVID Tracker 2019.
Goodbye, monetization.
Yeah, but I think it's important that we can do contact tracing and all this stuff.
But at the same time, if you're going to leave it up to an app, who's to say that somebody doesn't keep using the app after COVID? There's all kinds of issues there. And realistically, a big part of what'll get us through and into a more open and everything is just going to be test.
Oh my gosh, you said the magic word. Testing. That's the magic word.
Testing.
1, 2, 3. Testing. Test.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, but honestly, we just keep going down the quarantine.
Because contact trace, even with 6-foot spacing, like even if everybody followed that like perfectly, you would still not be able to contact trace without constant GPS location. And so I don't think that is a privacy that people should give up.
Interesting thought.
Yeah.
Huh. Because I think, like everyone kind of says who's an advocate for it, it's like it needs to be at least 75% or more people need to participate for it to really be effective.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like I could pass by 20 people who aren't using it and one of them has it and I'm unknowing. So I don't think, like you're kind of saying, I don't think it's a very like trustworthy system if not everybody's doing it.
Well, and I don't think anyone should do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you propose instead? just testing.
Just stay home for a bit until the thing goes away. Like the idea of like putting an app or some sort of tracker on me so that you know where I am at all times as the CDC or the government or whatever it is. Let's say it is a third-party app that people can just sign up for. It's just a business that has this app. What's to stop my employer from saying you have to have this app? And now I don't get a choice in it. I go to some other job. Now all these jobs want to know where the tracking is, and so plus I deal with GPS every day, and I know GPS in a phone sucks. It really sucks.
Really?
It is awful. It will ping you all over the place randomly. You will have...
So it's not accurate.
It is inaccurate. It is super inaccurate. Unless you have like a military-grade GPS that is utilizing 6 satellites or more, which most phones are only using 3 satellites a lot of the time.
Right. Well, I was just going to say, because like Google and Facebook know where you are all the time.
Yes.
Because your phone GPS.
Yes, they do. However, they are basing it, again, off phone GPS, which is very inaccurate. It's not great. Like,
It's better than nothing.
It looks good when you're using it and when you're looking at it because of the fact that it hides a lot of the random pinging. But it is not perfect. You get randomly pinged all over the place. There's a lot of stuff that they would have to like.
So you feel more,
fix and correct.
You feel safer, like your privacy is, you have that.
I'd rather keep my privacy and wait for COVID.
All right.
100%.
Hot takes. Everyone knows where you are always. I agree.
And I say this as the guy that when I go on to Google and I Google a restaurant that's near me, Google says, "Hey, you were at this restaurant this day, and this day," because I let Google run most of my life.
Yeah,
like,
Google knows.
Google knows
you spent 4 hours
everything about me
at the time
and all of this. But that's not a specific tracking system to know who I've been in contact with. That's when it becomes like...
That might be helpful, though, because, like, what if someone with COVID, they go to that restaurant that you were at?
And who's to say they coughed on me?
You don't know that.
Exactly. So
it's the same thing, even with the contact tracing app. If you pass by someone on the street, who's to say that you got close enough to contract it?
Exactly. And to consider the fact that GPS is not accurate within the 6-foot ring that people would need it to be accurate within, it's not going to be helpful.
Also, didn't they say, like, it's, like, suspended in air, right, for a amount of time?
Well, what it is it's suspended on whatever your aerosol saliva is until that aerosol saliva dries up, basically.
Okay.
Which is, I believe, like 3 hours or something like that.
Well, I think about when I'm crossing people on the street, I'm like, even if I'm 6 feet, like, if we, like, come at each other like this, and then we move 6 feet away, and I'm in their wake, couldn't I still get sick in the wake of their air?
Yeah, I mean, theoretically.
Totally,
and
right?
and that's why it's not a helpful system. Like, all it would do is say, oh, we diagnosed this person. Here's everyone that they've come in, like, near proximity to in the last, 24 hours or a week or whatever they end up making it. That's not a helpful number. What are you going to do? Tell all of those people that they're screwed? Like, we don't have enough.
You got to stay home for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to self-quarantine all those people just because they happen to be close to somebody? Like, that doesn't make sense on a social or economic scale.
So we can agree, though. Testing.
Yeah.